destroy everyone. No, not really. But this is a wonderful opportunity for us. I mean, I never dreamed, even in my wildest dreams, that I would get this volume, this amount of money, and this support from a platform. So, you know, when we came to the US, and obviously we signed Danny Jacobs, we were talking to HBO. It was very clear that we were never going to get the volume of dates that we needed to build an unbelievable stable of fighters. Showtime obviously had their commitments, so this came along and it was an absolute blessing. It was a wonderful opportunity, and now we're sitting there with the biggest deal in rights deal in the history of the sport, and more importantly, bigger rights budget than HBO and Showtime put together annually. So we shouldn't fail.
Eddie, my number one question is this. There's been a lot of entities that have tried, I don't say come over and take over the sport, but they have their own platforms, their own deals. So my question is, with this, are you an entity unto yourself, or will you play with other, in terms of other promoters, making cross promotions and trying to make the best fights possible?
I have a history of working with other promoters and other networks. So my ego is not yet out of control. I haven't been stabbed by the bitterness knife of boxing yet, which will happen in years to come.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I like to work with everybody. I just like to make great fights. So here you have a platform that is built by a fan for the fans. And the difference is we're not coming on air at 10 PM because there's a film on at 8 PM. You know, we can do the build-up show, we can show the entire card. This is 16 live events from the US. This is 16 of our massive shows from the UK as well. Other big announcements coming from a boxing content perspective over the next few weeks on this platform as well. But this isn't just a boxing platform, this is a sports platform. Wait till you see the other sports they're going to require. So that will come in time, but thankfully they have identified boxing as a sport that has serious potential, and that is why they have given the 8-year commitment, and obviously a lot of money as well.
What do you think is the main difference between your venture and what the PBC tried to do, let's say 3 years ago?
Well, they didn't have a platform, they bought airtime. That's the first thing. So they had no broadcaster paying them the money. They had an investment group that gave them the money to acquire fighters, which they did very well. But they didn't make progress with that money. We can't make the same mistakes. The difference is we have a platform behind us. So we have rights fees. Now, we don't have an amount of money given to build a brand, to sign fighters. We have rights fees to deliver shows. That's the difference. So with, like I say, bigger rights fees than HBO and Showtime put together, if I fail, I've really done a bad job.
Eddie, my final question is that we know that Top Rank has a deal with ESPN and ESPN Plus. They have their own platform. I don't know what type of broad scope it is compared to yours. From a worldwide perspective, you're now invading America like the Beatles. How do you see the American boxing market in general?
Do you know what? I think the American boxing market is in great shape. I really do. You know why? Because everybody is so competitive right now. So you've got Showtime winning at the moment over HBO. You've got HBO have no choice at some point to fight back. You've got ESPN, I think they're doing a great job. Top Rank are doing a great job. Now you have us coming in. So this is great news for the fighters. You imagine being a fighter right now. You could, if you don't have a promotional deal, you can come to me, get my offer. You know what? You go back to your network or your manager and say, I've had this offer, match it. This is a brilliant time for fighters, and I have to say, when you look at the job that proactive people are doing in the sport, there's some really good people out there. The Barclays Centre, you know, not just saying it because we go there, but these people, Steve, they're working and they're grafting for the sport, trying to make it bigger and bigger. Showtime doing a great job, HBO still, ESPN doing a great job. You guys, the media, more internet reporters than ever. I think boxing's in a really good state. We've just got to keep on making the big fights. Unfortunately, the purses have got out of control. Not unfortunately for the fighters, okay? And the PBC did that. They did that. And that changed the way everybody was paid. And we had to start paying fighters more money. And now, we're coming in with even more money than the PBC. So what a great time to be a fighter. But we've got to be sensible, we've got to be smart, we've got to get the right fighters. I'm looking forward to building the future as well as signing the elite names.
So Eddie, have fighters reached out to you recently, let's say in the last 10 minutes?
Yes, a few actually, quite a few texts. But I've been talking to 24 fighters over the last month. We've got to be careful, we've got to make sure that we don't get too many, fall in the same trap that others have. Box you once a year, it's not good enough. Our selling point is we will box you 3 or 4 times a year as a championship fighter whenever you want. If you're a young fighter, If you're out of the Olympics or you're out of the national team, you can box 8 times a year across our platform. You can either box in the UK as well, and this is also great news for our UK fighters, because they're going to box in America as well. We're going to build those guys, Joshua Buatsi, Danny Aryalusinov, etc., etc., Katie Taylor, you know, all these guys as well. So you'll see a cross-pollination of Matchroom Boxing USA and Matchroom Boxing.
Well, so